Okay, Happy New Year, everybody. I haven't done this in a very long time. I haven't vlogged for my channel. I haven't made any content for my channel, but I just want to cover a couple of things that have, come up and that have sort of piqued my interest. I, like perhaps many of you, are concerned with the truth. And I believe myself to be somebody who advocates for the truth from time to time. I'm not making a career out of advocating for the truth, but, it would certainly be nice to be able to do that. But from this, I'd like to be able to do it from the standpoint of sincerity and authenticity and genuineness, and not from the standpoint that I'm trying to essentially line my pockets and get one over, get over on people who may not know any better, sort of thing. So flat Earth is a lie, and it continues to be a lie. And one of the sort of actors, is what I'll call him, in the Flat Earth community, aka Dave Weiss, Dearth or Flat Earth Dave, if you want to call him that. I don't know Dave Weiss very well personally. I mean, he lives here in my town, and we've crossed paths at several community gatherings here locally, and so forth. And I used to talk to him, but his whole mantra is essentially trying to prove himself, or to basically to deconstruct. Dave Weiss is in essence a deconstructionist. So what he'll do is he'll take, and this is what a lot of people that are in these type of, and I'm going to call them cults, this is what they do. What they do is they break down your belief system, or what you know or believe to be true. And then, and they do this by using language or framing arguments in such a way that will cause you to cast doubt or cast aspersions on what you know to be true. It's kind of like if I say to you, well, the trees are, the sky is not touching the trees, or the trees aren't touching the sky. And then a deconstructionist will say, well, how do you know that? It's like, how are you sure about that? And then or they'll say, no, it's not, and this is how it is. So there's a couple of different ways that you can go about deconstructing a person's belief system. Now, if you're not somebody who is well grounded or well rooted, let's say, for example, in your faith, or your belief about who you are and what you understand about the world and your worldviews, if you're not really confident about them, then you become a candidate for a person that's malleable. You become malleable, and that's how they begin to change your mind. Because, and this is kind of how, it's a form of mesmerism or hypnotism, if you will. And I don't want to get too far off into the woods here with all of this stuff, but it's how they operate, and you have to be, it's something that all of us need to be very alert to, because, the devil goes about the earth seeking whom he may devour. It doesn't say the devil goes about the flat earth seeking whom he may devour, to, just to throw a pun in there, but it's to the point. It's so important to be very confident about who you are and what you believe, and being able to whether it can be falsified or not. Now, the entire argument of flat Earth is falsifiable. The other component aspect of Dave Weiss and his character, Dave Weiss is actually in one of my Facebook groups, which is private. It's a community. It's a local group that's community based, and it's private. And somebody, because I had been, I guess, doing things of this nature, vlogging in a sense, or my weekly or daily rants and so forth, and I was calling him out because he's a member of the community, of my community, and I think that what he is doing is approaching on dangerous, really. Leading people astray. What further bothers me about Mr. Weiss is that he's using the Bible, and this is what cults will do, is in a sense, that they will pervert scripture in such a way to get you to buy into their belief system. But this is that's kind of a two-edged sword. I mean, any belief system can do that, but the thing that one has to do is either that's true or it isn't. So when they use references to scripture to bolster their, I mean, to me, Dave Weiss was a flat earther first and maybe a person of faith second. So, but he thinks that the concept of, he believes, if I understand his, worldview correctly, or his perverse worldview that he uses to grift and shill, is that the truth about the earth is a massive conspiracy. Being a globe, about the earth being a globe, is a massive conspiracy to hide the truth of God, which is that's a total straw man argument right on its face. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just sort of speaking to the whole concept of why flat earth is a lie, and this dust up that's happened as a consequence of the final experiment and going down there and testing. In other words, you have a globe model, and then you have predictions or assumptions that you can make about a globe model based on the movement of the heavens and celestial bodies juxtaposed to the body or the stationary body that you're viewing it from. And so you can test and prove those. You should be able to do the same thing with flat earth. And unfortunately for flat earth people, there are no, first of all, you'll not find any universal agreement on what the flat earth should look like or what the measurements are, the distances, etc. Many of them use, and I suppose maybe you could call it a consensus model, is the Gleason map. But the problem for them there is the Gleason map is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional object. And so many people will ask, well, why are all of the maps of the earth flat? Well, I mean, when you think about being practical, I mean, let's just use some common sense here, folks. You can't, like on ships and navigation and all that kind of stuff, space is at a premium. And when you're trying to understand three-dimensional concepts in a very practical way, you'd put it in a two-dimensional space. So I don't understand why people don't understand this basic principle of like why. And then what they'll do, and many flat earthers are what I would call deconstructionists. So what they do is they think, well, they did this because of that, or they're doing this because of this, or they're doing that. And it's all conjecture. It's all hyperbolic. It's all speculation. There's never any definitive truth about it. In other words, like saying a definitive truth is 2 + 2 = 4. So a deconstructionist would say, well, not really, it isn't, and then they would offer an alternative explanation. The universal consensus is that 2 + 2 = 4, but that's either true or it's false. And it's not a proposition. It's not proposing a false binary choice. I mean, something is either true or it isn't. And if you can prove it to be, the truth is, or the claim is that, well, at first we didn't really know what the shape of the earth was. And so it took experimentation and testing to actually discover what the shape of the earth was. And when you think about all of the, just natural phenomenon, why a sphere? A sphere, and here's another interesting caveat. A couple of interesting caveats. A sphere is the most geometrically efficient shape, apparently, in the universe. It's the most uniform and efficient shape. That's why teardrops or drops of water coalesce into spherical shapes. Your eyeballs are in the shape of a sphere. Your brain is for all intents and purposes, is We call it when they talk about the head is spherical in shape, and when we talk about the brain, we talk about hemispheres of the brain, the left side of the brain, the right side, and so on and so forth. So spheres are naturally occurring shapes in nature, and but you have this obsession of essentially trying to deconstruct that entire phenomenon. And why is it important? I mean, at the end of the day, does anybody really, give a rip what shape the Earth is? Not really, because those aren't things most people think about. But this is why, it comes back to questioning who we are, what we understand about what the truth of a thing is, or it could be anything. And is there a universal ontological concept or principle, called truth? Is there truth with a capital T? And that's really what we're trying to get at. So Dave Weiss was offered a trip to Antarctica, refused, and for some reason or other, he people have speculated as to why he didn't go, and he's made I believe he's made numerous commentaries. He's called people that believe in a globe, he calls people that believe in a spherical Earth like demonic, and people who advocate for a spherical Earth, he calls them demonic or devils and evil and that sort of thing, which is really kind of rich. I mean, because what do you do when you can't defend your position? You essentially assassinate your opponent. You character assassinate your opponents. And how many different instances have we seen that playing out? Let's just take Donald Trump. Is Donald Trump an angel? Can he walk on water? Of course he can't. But it speaks to the point. It's like if you want to injure or hurt somebody, and or injure or hurt the people that adulate or admire those who are either loved or care about, or things that people care about, you go after their character. And so it's really sophomoric for Dave Weiss to resort to these types of tactics, these personal attacks. He's personally attacked me. He's called me an idiot. He's called me stupid. He says I don't know what I'm talking about. And this is when I confronted him in a direct message on his putting up those Apollo photographs, claiming that they were each from different missions but the same photograph. When in point of fact, and then he also made a big stink about one of the photographs that was fabricated, faked to say that it was from Mars, and then they photoshopped like a part of the Mars rover in there, and then it, I think it was on Reddit or something like that, and then it kind of went around the internet, and only to find that it was, I don't know if it was an island in Canada or Greenland or wherever the hell it was, but I can't remember. But to the point is, Dave Weiss has been called out on numerous occasions for lying, either deliberately or ignorantly. But it's just like, even after he was proven to be wrong, did he go back? Of course, I don't watch him, all of his videos and stuff like that, and I just wonder, had he ever gone back and put the record straight? I mean, he seems to be intent on putting the record straight on the whole chroma key thing with the green screen stuff that came up in the flat Earth. And would he do the same thing with respect to all the fake photographs, or not the fake photographs, but the photographs which he put up and asserted that they were all from different Apollo missions, when in fact they weren't? There was a strand of photographs, I think it was from the Apollo 9. It was one of the missions where they did not actually land on the moon, but they went around the moon's orbit, and then they took that famous photograph called Earthrise. And so, Dave Weiss and many other flat earthers went to town with that, and said that, oh, this is fake, blah, 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 or whatever. Well, and it's when somebody can make a claim, a truth fake. So if you're claiming something to be fake, or if you're claiming the earth is flat, there are certainly many things that you can do to see. In order for people to buy into a conspiracy, portions of it have to be true. Now, there are certain things that are true on our earth, which is a globe, that would make certain where you could make certain arguments and conjecture that the earth is flat because of thus and so. But here's the problem. They always talk about because we can see it or because of observation. So when people who when globers when globers take a thing to task, or they do things based on observation, such as taking pictures of the sun with the sunspots at different locations on the earth and saying it's the same sun, it's just in a different position. A flat earth will just try to deconstruct that and say it's not, it's an illuminary it's LEDs or it's whatever else it is, and blah, blah, blah. And this is a big part of the problem that I have with, and many atheists too. This is an interesting phenomenon. Flat earth, many people that buy into conspiracies like flat earth or chemtrails and so forth are a lot like atheists. And atheists will use, many of the same, atheists and conspiracy theorists such as flat earthers, Apollo deniers, and chemtrail kooks, they all use this tactic, which is designed to cast aspersions about what you believe to be true. And you could call it a form of deconstructionism or whatever. I mean, I try to look at everything, and I listen to everybody, and I listen to what they have to say. And if there's a ring of truth to what they have to say, then, I give them credit where credit is due. And if it's not, I'll say something about it. But, yeah, Dave Weiss is not a person of character, in my opinion. He's backpedaling. He had an opportunity to go down to Antarctica with Austin Whitsitt and Jeranism and the rest of them, or whatever, and he refused. And now what he's doing is he's defending his own flat earthers for again, he's trying to be the diplomat, which is what I think Bob the Science Guy, I watched a couple of videos on his channel about it, and he was talking about how Dave Weiss is trying to be, the diplomat and stuff like that. Well, it's like, dude, you had an opportunity to go down there and be with your friends, and now what you're doing is you're running defense for them, but you're still declaring the earth to be flat. It's just like Dave Weiss is trying to have his cake and eat it too, because he's trying, in my opinion, he's trying to protect his grift. And that's my opinion. He's also doing what I would call handling the word of God deceitfully. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 5, it says, "A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will not escape." And from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 9, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?" And then again from Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 3, "The integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them." You can't, God is not mocked. All right, let's just put that right out on the table, provided you believe in God. But God is not mocked. You cannot mock the truth. When the truth has been established about something, and then to go and mock it or to ridicule it or to attempt to deconstruct it, which is what all these fools are doing, all of these flat earth fools are doing. That's exactly what they're doing. They're deconstructionists, and they're attempting to hold on for dear life to their precious religion of their cultic religion, mind you, of this flat earth nonsense. There are so many other problems that need to be addressed in the world. And this is kind of like the Dark Ages 2.0. We have a growing cross section of people that have begun to buy into these conspiracies, and the reason why is because there are some things that our government does that are genuinely nefarious, genuinely underhanded, and genuinely evil, and have proven to be such. And so what these grifters and shills do is they've latched into that, or they've tapped into that community of people that have become, disabused of the people that they put their faith and trust in, and they've tapped into that, and they've cashed in on that. And I'm vehemently against it, and I'd like to see it stop. Anyway, that's my rant. That's 20 minutes if you want to listen to it. God bless all of you guys. Happy New Year. And maybe we'll get to do some more of this later.